Once upon a time, a group of frogs traveled together in search of new adventures. They hopped along enjoying the warm sunlight through the leaves, the gentle rustling of the trees around them. Among the group, two lively frogs were especially enthusiastic, hopping a bit ahead of the others. They laughed and joked as they explored, unaware of the unexpected danger waiting ahead. But suddenly, without warning, the ground gave way beneath them. The two frogs tumbled down into a deep pit hidden among the leaves and branches. Startled, they found themselves trapped in a hole so deep that the walls seemed to stretch endlessly above them. The rest of the frogs heard the commotion and rushed over, gathering around the edge of the pit. They peered down, their faces filled with concern. They saw just how deep the pit was, and worry set in. The frogs at the top started calling down to their trapped friends. "It's too deep," they said. "You'll never make it out. You're as good as gone." The voices echoed in the pit, filling the air with despair. But the two frogs in the pit weren't ready to give up. They shared a determined look, and with all their strength, they began to jump, reaching as high as they could, hoping to find a way out. The other frogs continued to shout, "You'll only tire yourselves out. There's no point, save your energy." But the two frogs ignored them and kept jumping, again and again. After many tries, one of the two frogs began to feel exhausted. She glanced up at the impossibly high edge, her heart heavy with hopelessness. Finally, taking in the words of her friends above, she stopped, slumped down, and closed her eyes. The struggle was over for her. But the other frog refused to give up. With a fierce, unbreakable will, she kept leaping, her legs straining as she pushed herself to jump even higher. Each jump was harder, but her spirit stayed strong. The crowd at the top grew louder, yelling, "Please stop. Spare yourself the pain, you're as good as dead." But the frog kept going, her focus entirely on the light above, undeterred. As she jumped, her muscles ached, her energy waned, but she kept going, her mind focused solely on reaching the top. With each leap, she grew closer, her resilience shining bright. And then, with one final, mighty leap, the frog soared high enough to grab the edge of the pit. She pulled herself up, taking in the fresh air and the sight of her friends with a victorious smile. The other frogs stared in astonishment. They had all been convinced that escaping the pit was impossible. "How did you do it?" they asked in disbelief. The frog smiled, looking around at her friends, and explained with a laugh, "I thought you were cheering me on the whole time. I didn't realize you were telling me to give up." With newfound respect for their resilient friend, the frogs continued their journey together, inspired by her strength and the lesson they'd learned: what we believe, even from misunderstanding,